Hello, I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge from WDIV Local 4 in Detroit. You've probably heard it said, one blood donation can save up to 3 lives. But when you actually donate blood, there's no way to know where your blood goes or who it really helps. So we wondered if would-be donors could see how much that donation really means, would they be inspired to donate more often or to donate for the first time? So we asked the Red Cross to do something it's never done before, to allow us and our cameras to follow a single blood donation from the donor to each of the recipients and through every step along the way. From arm to arm, it's a life-saving journey.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, fine, thank you.
It all begins with John McCallum.
Welcome to the Red Cross. You're here to give blood today.
Indeed.
It's 12:37 on a Thursday, and this 41-year-old father from Ann Arbor is about to save 3 lives. The first step for any donor, a health history and mini physical. The results are always completely confidential. So we stay outside while John answers questions about his health and has his temperature and iron levels checked. Meanwhile, in the collection room, Red Cross staff are carefully labeling sample tubes and collection bags. Take a close look at this number, 13GN15606. That's the number on the bag that will soon hold John's blood, and the number we'll be following for the next few days, weeks, and months. After passing his physical, John is ready to donate.
First thing I'm going to do is just check out your veins.
Okay.
Before each step of the process, that all-important number is checked and rechecked and checked again. Then a quick prick,
I just don't like needles.
and John's life-saving gift begins filling the collection bag.
I started donating when I was in high school. Everybody wanted to donate for some reason, and I guess I just wanted to be hip and part of the crowd.
About 4 years ago, John began donating again, about twice a year. His blood type is O negative. That means it can be given to anyone, regardless of their blood type.
Once I realized, hey, it's, my blood can really help some people, then I thought, well, got to at least donate a little more frequently.
To his 7-year-old son, Miles, it's simple.
Other people need blood, and he has some, and he's sharing it with some people.
And what does he think of his dad?
Cool.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
In just 10 minutes, John is finished and off to eat juice and cookies. While John's part is done, his blood is just beginning the long journey to 3 recipients. The collection bag is placed in a cooler waiting to be transported. Again, the number is verified. At the same time, the small tubes of blood that were also collected are packed in a rack, ready to go to the testing lab to be checked for a long list of diseases. The number on each tube matches the number on the collection bag. While the blood waits for pickup, we sit down with John, who wishes more people would make time to donate blood.
Even if everybody out there just donated once a year, we would never have a blood shortage.
Instead, there is a blood shortage, especially of type O negative blood, the type that can be given to any patient in an emergency. 37% of the U.S. population is eligible to give blood, but only 5% actually do each year. The most common reasons for not donating are simply not thinking about it or a fear of needles. John says the quick needle prick is a small price to save 3 lives. And as for what drives him to donate, he says it was the birth of his son that made him think more about helping others.
Selfishness goes out the window, I think. The uncertainty of life. I mean, you never know if you're going to need it. And that's really, I guess, my driving factor. And hopefully people just realize it's not just about them, it's about life.
Less than an hour after being donated, John's blood is on the move. Along with other donations, it's being transported to an area called manufacturing at the Red Cross's Detroit headquarters. The bags are unpacked and sorted by collection time. Our unit is about to be separated into 3 different components: red blood cells, platelets, and plasma. Red blood cells are the microscopic discs that carry oxygen from the lungs to cells throughout the body. Platelets are colorless cells that help form clots to stop excessive bleeding. And plasma is the liquid portion of blood. It's about 90% water, but also contains substances that are critical for clotting and fighting infections. Separating the whole blood into those parts starts here with a spin in the centrifuge. The red blood cells are heavier. They sink to the bottom, while the plasma and platelets move to the top. That top layer is removed and heads over to another centrifuge, this time to separate the platelets from the plasma. Blood is collected into a pre-connected network of bags and tubing sealed in such a way that it is never opened or exposed to air. From the donor's arm to the people the blood, platelets, and plasma will help, there is no risk of contamination. A special solution is in the bag that now contains just the red blood cells. It increases their shelf life to up to 42 days. At this point, to make it easier for us to spot John's donation, we add this tag that says, "Follow this blood." The red blood cells head for the refrigerator where they'll be stored until they're ready to be shipped to a patient in need. Meanwhile, the plasma is going into the flash freezer. The temperature there, a bone-chilling 27 degrees below zero. The plasma's frozen solid in just 45 minutes. Unlike the other components, plasma can be stored for up to a year. And while the plasma is freezing, the platelets are put on trays to rest for 2 hours. Platelets are like newborns. They're very fragile and need constant care and attention. After 2 hours, the platelets move here to a special room with machines that gently rock the platelets constantly back and forth, preventing them from clumping. Because they can't be frozen, platelets have the shortest shelf life. They must be used within 5 days of being donated. That means the clock is ticking. Just under 6 hours after John donated his blood, 4 sample tubes collected at the same time arrive at the testing lab, along with samples from across our region. It's not a place the public is normally allowed to see. Here, the dedicated staff work around the clock, weekends and holidays too, to make sure that our nation's blood supply stays safe. John's sample tubes are immediately unpacked and placed on special racks. The number on each tube, 13GN15606, matches the number on the bags now holding John's plasma, platelets, and red blood cells. Inside the lab, the atmosphere is serious and seriously organized. 28,000 tubes pass through here each day. The different colored tops, some red, some purple, some gray, mean different things have been added to the blood to make it clot or not clot as needed for each test. A total of 14 tests will be performed over the next 6 hours. 2 of those will determine the blood group, O, A, B, or AB, and RH type. That's the negative or positive part of your blood type. The results confirm John is type O negative. The rest of the tests check for infectious diseases that could be transmitted to a recipient during a transfusion. Some of those diseases are familiar, including HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C. Those diseases are actually tested at least twice. Once for evidence of exposure to the viruses, and once for actual pieces of the virus. The blood is also tested for syphilis, West Nile virus, human T lymphotropic virus, certain unexpected antibodies, and Chagas disease. Chagas is a serious, often fatal disease caused by this parasite. The tubes move through the various high-tech tests with careful precision. If all of the tests are negative, the blood can be released and transported to local hospitals. If any of the tests come back positive, the blood is discarded and the donor is notified. The final say comes from quality control. At 1:48 a.m., after a thorough recheck of the paperwork and a few clicks of the mouse, John's blood is declared safe to continue its journey. One donation, 3 lives. Platelets, packed red blood cells, and plasma, each heading to a different recipient. After 24 hours of processing and testing, our platelets are ready to go and on the road at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Platelets are special. They have to be used within 5 days of being donated. That's why blood is constantly needed. Immediately after arriving at U of M, the platelets are assigned to 38-year-old Christina Kramer, a working mom from Coloma, Michigan, on the west side of the state.
And then it came to where I couldn't even walk, though, one day. I was running a really high fever of probably 102. Once they did blood work again, they figured I had leukemia.
Christina has endured months of chemotherapy, radiation, and a bone marrow transplant. Through it all, she's needed frequent transfusions of blood and platelets. Tonight, less than 36 hours after they were donated by a stranger, she'll receive another life-sustaining gift.
13, G as in George, N as in Nancy, 15606.
Okay.
Right now, the platelets are helping me so I don't bleed, because I could, bleed to death. basically, if you don't have your platelets. And I didn't realize all that stuff before.
John's donation also produced special red blood cells, O negative, the universal donor type. John's blood can be safely given to anyone, but it's especially precious to other type O's who can only receive this type of blood. Here at the Red Cross, it's a little past 4:30 a.m., and the O-negative red blood cells, one of the most valued parts of the donation, is being packed and shipped to Henry Ford Hospital as part of its standing order, so there is always a supply of blood on hand for its patients. Patients like 80-year-old Alfonsia Hunter, who first donated blood years ago.
When I was 22 years old, I was drafted in the Army and on the ship going to Korea.
After surviving a serious war injury, Alfonsia's willingness to give blood was even stronger.
Just about every time I have a blood drive, I gave blood.
Now, decades later, it's Alfonsia who needs blood. A 6-year battle with prostate cancer has left him very anemic, causing dangerous health problems. Our red blood cell unit arrives, keeping Alfonsia in the fight for another day. St. John Hospital in Detroit is where we follow John's plasma. It's been in the deep freeze for 2 months now. It can be stored for up to a year, but today, someone needs it.
I've been on Coumadin since 1992, and in 1997 I had double open heart surgery.
52-year-old Anita McCullum needs more surgery, but since starting the blood thinner Coumadin, anytime she could bleed, she also needs plasma. This straw-colored fluid is packed with proteins that help blood clot.
And plasma wasn't available, I wouldn't make it.
To every recipient, John's blood is a gift that they're grateful for.
When you go and give blood, you're giving life.
You never know. You could be saving a child's life. You could be saving somebody in your own family's life. You never know.
Thank you. And just keep donating.
Remember, the need for blood is constant. If you want to donate, call 1-800-RED-CROSS or go to redcrossblood.org to set up an appointment. You can also visit your local Red Cross donation center. You may never meet the people you help, but they're out there and they're grateful.